Okay, so now we have. I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to look for a couple of more scriptures to back up this point, but I didn't want to go too much into um, where our. I didn't want to go too much over what I usually do in my typical parts of the video, so I try to be consistent on that. So that's why this part. I don't think it's going to be too much longer, but anyway. Uh, so we can. Uh, well, well, we've been talking about how joy, unlike happiness, happiness is dependent upon what's happening around us at the time. Joy is not. And in Proverbs 17:22, we read this. Proverbs 17, verse 22. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit drives up the bones. So our happiness is dependent upon our what our circumstances say, right? Or what our circumstances dictate. But our heart, joyfulness is where our heart truly is at the time. And a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So we can always have our heart in a joyful place. Now, that doesn't mean that we are going to be happy all the time. What it means is we can always be, and we should always keep in mind where our joy comes from. And let's go to Psalm chapter 30, verse 5, since it's close by. I'm going to read a few passages here before we proceed. Okay, so I know where I'm going. It just takes a while to get through Psalm because it's such a big book. Okay, so Psalm chapter 30, verse 5. It says, "For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." So our joy we can always know that weeping lasts for a time. And it may be, we might have a situation that has us sad for quite some time. And James isn't suggesting we should be happy go lucky all the time. What he's saying is that uh, really we need to keep our eyes on God, and we need to keep our minds on the fact that whatever we're going through, it's all temporary, and so we can have joy in that. And that is what Paul says. We are going to read one of my favorite passages is in, I believe, let me see, I always get this mixed up. Is it 1st or 2nd Corinthians? I know exactly where it is once I find it. Yes, okay, so it starts in Second Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. Just go ahead and I'm going to read verses 7 through 12 for us. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be revealed in our body. For we who are alive are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that his life may be revealed in our mortal body. So then death is at work in us, but life is at work in you. So what does that mean? That means that we know what Jesus Christ did for us. And when we keep that in mind, life is at work in us all the time, no matter what. So let us keep our eyes focused, our eyes and our minds focused on that. Okay, so let me see. Okay, let's keep going. And and we are going to, just so you guys know, I do have a commitment here. So I'm going to finish up this part of the message, and I may come back later and do the rest of it because I was dealing with some business today, and it wasn't managed the greatest. So I apologize for that. But if I don't finish up this message right away, then I'll come back later on tonight and do it because I have something, an engagement that I need to take care of. But we're gonna finish up this part first. But I just wanted to let you guys know that so that I don't forget. Now I'll probably mention it again at the very end of this part. But anyway, um, let us keep going. That's the nice thing about this is this isn't something I normally do, but if we're recording videos on YouTube, that it provides a certain flexibility to what we're doing, and I say we because I'm sure I'm not the only one who puts sermons on here, but I usually do a sermon all, but maybe not all at once because I break them all into parts, and I'm not somebody who edits a lot, but I actually don't even know how to edit at all. I've seen it done, but I'm not confident enough to do it. But we have flexibility that we can come back and and uh, and finish up a sermon later on if we need to. So I apologize. There was just a lot going on today, but I really wanted to get this uh, done, and I want to get it done. Before I would love to finish this all at once, but it's just probably not going to be feasible right now. But anyway, we'll keep on going for this part, and I'll come back later on if I need to. So just wanted to let you guys know. But let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. Is it? I think it's Hebrews 12. Let me see. I've looked at a lot of scripture today. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and read verses. Okay. Let's go ahead and read. This isn't exactly how I was going to do it, but let's go ahead and read Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, and emphasize verse 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off anything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you do not grow weary and lose heart. You will not grow weary and lose heart. So again, we can always be, the key is to know that everything, the Bible tells us in Romans 8:28 that God works out everything for his glory. And so when we experience times of trouble, we can be assured that, especially if we follow Jesus, we will see later on how those times produce character and perseverance. Now we might not see it right away, and in fact we there might even be times where we don't see it until the very end of our lives. But I think we're gonna understand what happens to us, and we're gonna have much greater picture of it when we get done with this life. We don't know how long that's going to be, but we can be assured that our circumstances are all unique. But the way the Lord works in terms of working things out for His glory, that's not unique to anybody in the sense that He does it according to His promise. We're not God doesn't keep his promises to some people and others he doesn't. He is faithful and just and keeps his promises. Now, are we going to experience things that we don't think we should? Yes. And that's due to a fallen world. And none of us are, immune to the struggles of this world. But what our the key is to just keep our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. So let's get going back to James. There is so much more that I want to cover. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so my dear brothers and sisters, starting off with verse 19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Now, I used to, and to some degree, I still do. I was on the phone, which is one of the reasons that I was late today in doing what I was doing this video. I was on the phone for like 20 minutes, or almost probably more than 20 minutes, only to get no answers. I won't go into it right now, but my spirit wanted to get angry about it. I wasn't going to get angry at a specific person, but at the situation. And I probably would have had I hung up and called back because I really wanted to know a certain piece of information. I probably would have said, look, I've been waiting online or on the phone for almost 20 minutes. It seemed like it was more like a half hour. I don't know exactly how long it was, but the one thing that the Lord has really worked on me on in the last few months is I've always, for many years since 2006, I've been you know a devoted follower of Christ, but I've really struggled in certain areas. Lack of patience is one of them, and sometimes when I don't think that things will are going the way they should, I'll get angry. But the Lord's really worked on me when it comes to that, because getting angry about a situation doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't get anything done any faster. So we have to, we're, and it's okay to be angry, but the fact is, how do you handle it? And so I was annoyed that I was on hold for so long, and I also didn't get the answer. I didn't really get anything in the very end of it, but that's okay. I mean, it is what it is, and for me to get angry would not have changed the situation one bit. And I have to be mindful of that, not only for and of course I want to do it for the those around me, but I need to, because when we get angry and we get easily angered and show our anger, that can paint a pretty scary picture of certain people, myself included, because when I can get angry and passionate, sometimes I can get loud. But the Lord's really worked with me on that, and it has strengthened the relationships around me, including the one with the love of my life, my girlfriend Christina, has really seen a change in that, and she is a committed sister in the Lord, and I'm a committed, man of God, which is why I want him to keep working with me, and I have to keep myself in check and work to keep myself in check. Sometimes I have to work pretty hard at that in certain areas. So if you feel like you're getting angry next time, just take a deep breath and realize that it's okay to get angry, but the thing is just to not let that anger consume you. And no matter how angry you get about something, I mean, to act on that anger and be loud and somewhat obnoxious about it, if that's how anger can manifest itself in you, it doesn't produce anything, and it doesn't produce the righteousness that God desires from us. Okay. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Now, what is it? Does anger produce filth? A lot of times it does. Not all the time, but if we act on it wrongly, or if we don't handle it correctly and we act on it in an angry way, and we the way we see anger can be lead to sin, and that is not what the life that has been planted, and it's not the word that the Lord. It's not according to the word that Christ plants in those that have accepted Him. So does that mean that we shouldn't get angry? No, there are times where we are justified in our anger, but we have to be careful and keep it in check. And we have to realize that it does not produce what again, it doesn't. It's not productive. It doesn't produce the life that God desires from all of us. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. What does that mean? Well, I mean, if we are going somewhere, we don't want to look like we're just rolling out of bed, right? We want to look at least presentable, and so we have to look in a mirror and take a shot of that, a mental shot. We might even these days take a screenshot of our phone, a shot of ourselves on our phones. But the fact is, when we look in the mirror, we do so to see what we look like, and so what we want to do is we want to look as we come to a point where we accept Jesus in our lives. We have to do what the Word says, and if we don't do what the Word says, we don't just merely listen, but we do what it says. We're not really looking at our lives and saying, how can we be better? How can we live for Jesus? I don't want to say, I almost said to be a better version of ourselves, but it's not that way at all. It's a when we get when we know Christ, it's important that we live for Him and we don't just merely listen to the Word, but we do what it says, and we need to look intently into our own lives and say, what sin can we get rid of? How can we live more for Christ? And what do we need to ask Him to work on it with us? And as we do, if we do that, we need to be to realize that He is faithful and can purify our hearts, and that's what He does for us. Okay, so anyway, but whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues to do it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, will be blessed in all and what they do. So, are we still going to have struggles? Yes. But can we be blessed in what we do if we follow God's way? You bet. It's a guarantee that it will happen. Doesn't mean we won't struggle with certain things, but the Lord will guide us, and if we're connected to His Word, we will be blessed in the things that we do, because we are going to act in ways that are more in line with Him. Does that mean we're not going to slip? No. But the more we trust Christ and the more connected we are by looking into by practicing the Word, the better, the more equipped we will be to live lives that are honoring to Him. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. A lot of people might say they might consider themselves followers of Christ, but they don't want to be. If that's the case, then there shouldn't be a lot of foul language that comes out of their mouth, right? And I will be the first to say um, that I used to curse a lot when I was a kid, and even as an adult, I've done it more than I care to admit. But the Lord has really helped me to keep a tight rein on my tongue lately. So He's worked on me when it comes to my anger and keeping a tight rein on my tongue. That has allowed me to be a better representative of Christ. And and give a better representation of Him to those around me. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after the orphans and widows in their distress and keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Serve people, look after the old, the elderly. As we do that, and try to do what we can to take care of those who can't take care of ourselves, and we do that to serve the Lord, He's going to notice that. We are going to stop here, and again, I will come back and finish up this message in a little while. Again, I apologize for that, but it's nice to have the freedom. So it will, part 4 will be up here in the next few hours, most likely. God bless you.